All of you, unmute your audio. All four members, Ajay, Gautam, Timmanna Naik, Vinay. Unmute your audio, all of you.
Okay.
I'll send the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask you whether you are understanding or not. This is the economic part is very very important topic. Okay, you, somewhere you require some practices also. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to understand the concept. Okay, that's why I'm telling you. Okay, mute your audio. I'll start the class. In a previous class, we discussed about the different types of the interest and interest factors. In that, we discussed about simple interest and compound interest. Okay, how we are going to calculate for simple and compound interest. Okay, now what you mean by interest? How we are going to get or how we are going to charge the interest, whatever the principal amount is taken from a other person. Okay, in the previous class I told that in a simple interest there's a two type of simple interest. One is ordinary, another one is exact, and the compound interest. And this is the formula we are going to use. Fn is equal to P into bracket 1 plus I raised to n, that is a number of period. Okay, and these are some of the examples yesterday I explained how we are going to calculate the compound interest. Okay, yesterday this much is completed now, and one more example I'll explain today. Okay, there's a one more problem, that is a find the compound amount of a rupees 5,000 at 6% for 4, 8 and 12th year and compare the results. Okay, does the doubling the time double the amount of interest earned? Okay, now you just see that one person is paying or is taking a money of rupees 5,000 at the interest rate 6%. Okay, now we have to calculate the compound interest for 4th year, 8th year and 12th year. Okay, and we have to tell that whether if we are increasing or doubling the year, whether we are getting a more number of future amount or not, or double amount of future amount or not. Just see that this is the same formula we are going to use for compound interest. F is equal to P into bracket 1 plus I raised to n. Now F is future sum of the amount, P is is a principal amount, I is interest rate, and N is a number of period. Okay, there's a 3 period they given. Okay, there's a 4, 8, and 12. Okay, now you just see that for the future sum of the amount, you just see right now, this is a future principal amount P, and this is a number of period. I'll explain it afterwards. Okay, then this is a future sum of the amount, that is F. This is 0 time period, first year, second year, third year, and fourth year, that is N is equal to 4. Okay, then I is equal to how much we are going to pay or taken, that is 6% we are charging. Okay, now this is the principal amount, is that is 5,000 rupees. 1 plus 0.06, that is interest 6%, 6 by 100 r by n. Okay, now 0.06, and this is already in a year. There is no need to conversion for month or any half or binary, sorry, by annual. Okay, now it is in year, that means n is equal to 4. Okay, now you have to calculate, that is 6,312.40 rupees for fourth year they are going to get. That means 5,000 he is going to give. After 4 years he is getting 6,312.40 rupees. Okay, then similarly for 8th year, then it becomes 8. Okay, 5,000 plus 1, sorry, 1 plus 0.06, that is a 6% is common for all the years. Then 8, then after 8 year he is going to get 7,969.25 rupees. Okay, now similarly for 12th year, that is 5,000 plus 1, going to bracket 1 plus 0.06 raised to 12, that is 12th year, is going to get 10,060 rupees. Okay, 10,060.98 rupees. Yeah, how we are going to find out the future sum of the amount? We are calculating this one. Okay, F P I N. Okay, 0 at the 0 time period. Now if I am taking money, that is a 0 time period. After 1 year I am going to pay the interest. That's why always the principal amount starts with a 0. Okay, remember this one. Then first year, second, third, and fourth year. Similarly for the second condition, first 0, 1, 2, 3, so on up to 8. Then next up to 12 years, and this is the amount they are going to get after the time period they given at the rate of interest 6% when the principal amount of 5,000 is given. Okay, now how much interest we earned after 4, 8, and 12 year. Okay, interest earned for the fourth year, that is I is equal to F4 minus P, because we have to remove this 5,000 out of future sum of the amount. Then 1,312 rupees we got a interest for after 4 years. Similarly for second year, second eighth one, F8 minus P, that is 2,969.25 rupees. Okay, then final one, I12 is 5,060.4, sorry, 98. 5,000, you have to remove this 5,000 from this 10,060.98. That is 5,060.98 rupees. That is, we got a interest after 12 years. That means after 12 years, whatever the amount we given to that person at the rate of interest 6%, it is double the amount after 12th year. Clear? Now here we are going to calculate these nominal interest, sorry, this compound interest by using this formula. Okay. Now you just see that, remember the important parameters. P, that is a principal amount, it comes throughout the chapter, economic chapter. Then I is a rate of interest, F, future sum of the amount, then N, that is number of period which is given for that particular principal amount. Okay, these are the four things we have to remember. Okay, now moving to the next one, that is a nominal interest rate. Okay, now just now we said that no, that is a simple interest, compound interest, ordinary simple interest, okay, exact simple interest. Then what you mean by nominal interest rate? Because in your, wherever you are going to purchase or wherever you are going to do any business, always they are going to apply this nominal interest rates. Okay, this is very very important, because you are going to say, if you have this knowledge, okay, if you are taking any loan or anything in the future, you can save a lot of money. Okay, if you are asking this one, then easily you can tell them how they are going to charge interest, whatever the amount you are taking from them. Okay, and one more thing, if anybody you have taken already a education loan, one thing you remember that they are charging monthly interest, and you are paying monthly interest, but they are saying compounded yearly. Okay, if they are saying that we are taking education loan of 40%, 14% per year, but they you are paying monthly. Okay, what is the difference between monthly and what is the difference between yearly? So clearly you are going to understand from this part. Okay, see, if they are saying that 40%, if you are paying monthly, then definitely you are paying 20 to 22% of interest for whatever the education loan you already taken. Remember this. Just if you have taken anyone loan, you just calculate it. You will understand how much money I am paying extra to the bank. Okay, now we are moving towards a nominal interest rate. Here we are going to calculate many aspects are there. There's the 7 types of the problems we have to solve, because in your examination you are going to get minimum 2 problems out of these 7 types. Okay, remember this, because and these are the basics for whatever the problems you are going to solve in future, for a present worth, annual worth, and future worth comparison of the future worth comparison methods. Okay, now nominal interest rate. Okay, interest rate are normally calculated on annual basis. Remember this. Always they are going to calculate it on annual basis. However, interest may be compounded several times in a year. That is quarterly. Yesterday I told that 4 quarter is equal to 1 year. Okay. Then half yearly, that is a 2 half equal to 1 year, and monthly, that is 12 month is equal to 1 year, and etc. Okay. For example, if 1 year is divided into 4 quarters, and each quarter is charged with an interest of 2%. Okay, remember, if 1 quarter is charged 2%, then the interest rate is stated as 8% compounded quarterly. Okay, that means for 1 year, 4 quarters, that means for 1 quarter, if they are charging 2%, that means 2 to 4, that is 8 compounded quarterly. Stated in this fashion, the interest rate is known as nominal interest rate. Okay, now just say that if I'm taking this as a 2% for compounded monthly, then what happened? 2 into 12, that is 24% is compounded monthly. Okay, like that. we have to calculate the nominal interest rate depending upon half yearly, monthly, or quarterly. Okay, and sometime we are going to calculate like in a last class I told that no, in exact interest rate, that is a exact simple interest in terms of days. The future worth at the end of 1 year for a rupees of 1000 earning an interest of 8% compounded quarterly. Remember this, at the end of a question, always they give this one. Compounded quarterly, compounded monthly, compounded yearly. Okay, you have to remember that. Based on that, you have to calculate the value of small I. Okay, now 1000 rupees is earning at the rate of interest 8% compounded quarterly. Clear? Now, the principal amount it becomes is 1000 rupees. 1 plus I. What is I? 2%. Okay. If it is a 8, then 8 by 4, you are going to get 2% for compounded quarterly. Then divided by 100, then you are going to get 0.02. That is the value of I. Okay. Now 2 by 100, that is 0.02 raised to raised to 4, that is compounded quarterly. That means 4 quarters in a year. Okay, because 1 year they given. Now 1000 to get 1 plus 0.02 raised to 4, you are going to get 1082.43 rupees. The future sum of the amount you are going to earn. Okay, if the interest rate is 8% compounded annually, now just see that here the compounded quarterly, that means 2%. If it is given compounded annually, then what happens? 8 by 100. Okay, that is 8%. You are going to get it. That is directly 0.08 raised to n is equal to 1, because compounded annually for 1 year I am calculating this. Here and for 3 months I am calculating. That means in a 1 year there's a 4 quarters, that is 3 months, 3 months, 3 and 3 months. 4 quarters, that's why I taken 4. Now directly you have to take it 1, then you have to calculate f is equal to 1080 rupees, a future sum of the amount you are getting. Remember this, here the difference comes. If your bank person is saying that 14%, sorry, 8% compounded yearly, that means yearly they are saying that you are going to charge 8% per year as the interest for 1000 rupees, whatever the loan you are taken. But he is saying that you have to pay monthly or quarterly, or for every 3 months you have to pay this much amount. That means, remember this, 1082.43 minus 1080, that means 2.43 rupees you are extra paying for every 3 months payment. Is it clear? That means if you are calculating compounded annually, you are getting this value, that is 1080. But if you are compounded quarterly, then you are getting 1082.43. Okay, if I am going for compounded monthly, again it is increases. Okay, I'll come to the next part of that compounded monthly. That means then what happens? It becomes what? Compounded monthly. That means 8 by 12. Okay, then whatever the value you are getting divided by 100. That means whatever the value you are getting here, the raised to 12 you are getting. That means this value again increases compounded monthly. Okay, that means you are paying more than up to a 5 rupee extra for this 1000 rupees every month when you are paying. Okay, see that go through the e-commerce right now, no? In a Flipkart or Amazon, whenever if you are going to purchase anything, you are going to see that In a payment option, you have one option that is EMI. Okay, what is EMI? It is not a every month interest. Okay, it is a equated monthly installment. Remember this. Okay, they are showing that for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10, 12, 18, 24 months. They are showing that. Okay, and here the value in that the value of the amount goes on increasing. At the end, they are saying that this much of the interest you are paying after 24 years, after 12 years, after 10 years, after 5 years, sorry, after 5 months, like that they are going to give away. You just go through that, you will understand how these interest rate will be applicable for compounded monthly, quarterly, and this annual. See that in that ratio, just go and see that if it is 3 month, your interest is minimum. If you are increasing the month, interest increases. If the goes on increasing the months or year, then interest is again increases. Okay, that's why one thing you remember that if you are increasing the time period for paying that amount, then you are paying maximum interest for whatever the principal amount you have taken. Clear? Now, for example, for 1 year, a loan of 1000 rupees at a nominal interest rate of 8% compounded quarterly. We have effective annual interest rate, that is F minus P divided by P into 100. Okay, F is the future sum of the amount. We got it. How much? 1082.43 divided minus P divided P. Okay, divided by P. That means we're going to get 8.243% you are paying and compounded quarterly. Okay, how much interest you are paying for this 8%? For compounded quarterly, you are paying for 8.243. Is it clear? That is because as a effective interest rate. Okay, if the effective interest rate can be obtained without referring the principal amount. See that this is the one of the method we are going to find out. I E effective. That is effective interest rate. That is 8.243% we are paying instead of paying to 8% if it is compounded quarterly. Okay, if you don't know what is this P, okay, if he is not given a P value, okay, and how we are going to find out the effective interest rate? Okay, this is the formula we are going to use, that is effective interest rate is equal to 1 plus R by N raised to N minus 1. That is N is the number of compounding period per year and nominal interest rate. The same problem I am taking this compounded quarterly. If I don't know this one, 1 plus 0.08 by 4 because compounded quarterly. Okay, raised to 4 minus 1, that is 8.243. I am getting the same answer here and here. It's the effective interest rate. That means, see, when you are going to pay the amount, taken the amount every year, interest rate, but you are paying every month or every quarter or every biannual, then what is the effective interest rate you have to find out. Okay, now a small example, similar example. Okay, the finance company charges interest rate of 18%, 18 compounded monthly. The year how many months? 12 months equal to 1 year. Okay, then what is the effective interest rate? You just say that only 18% they give a year. You don't know about the principal amount, how much you taken and other things. Now you just here the same formula we are going to use 1 plus R by N raised to minus 1. 1 plus 0.18 because it's 18%. divided by compounded monthly, that is 12 month raised to 12 minus 1, then whatever the value you are getting, that is a effective interest rate we are paying, whatever the compound sorry principal amount which is taken. Okay, and the similar same type of the example here. Find the effective interest rate if the rate of interest is 6% when compounded yearly, biannually, quarterly, monthly, and daily, and compare the results. Now this problem which gives an entire knowledge about how we are going to give a interest rate, okay, based on the compounding. Okay, that is effective interest rate, that is a formula they given directly. Yearly, that means 1, that means n is equal to 1. Okay, whatever the capital N or small n you have to take it, that is 1. 1 plus 0.06 divided by 1 raised to 1 minus 1, that is 6%, because it is already 6% compounded yearly. Okay, come to biannually, that means n it becomes 2. Okay, because 2 biannually is equal to 1 year. 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2 raised to 2 minus 1, that is 6.09% you are paying as an effective interest rate. Okay, then come to third, quarterly. That means how many quarters? N is equal to 4. So 4 quarters is equal to 1 year. Then 1 plus 0.06 divided by 4 raised to 4 minus 1. Then effective interest rate is 6.136%. We are paying whatever the principal amount we have taken from the others. Then compounded monthly. N it becomes 12. Okay. Now 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12 raised to 12 minus 1, then 16.168 rupees, sorry, percent we are paying as a interest. Then compounded month daily. Okay, how many days in a year? The non-leap year, if you are going to take it, that is 365. N is equal to 365, you have to take it. Okay, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 365 raised to 365 minus 1. Then we are going to get the effective interest rate of 6.183% we are paying. See, the conclusion of this problem is, whenever you are going to go for compounding, that means increasing the time period goes on increasing in the interest rate. Okay, if you are taken 1000 rupees at a 6%, okay, then at 6%, whatever the interest you are getting, after 1 year you are paying the same amount with the interest of 6% only. If you get to biannually, after 6 months, some amount is given, after 6 months, if you are paying back, then it increases to 6.09%. Then if you are making a payment at the quarterly, then it becomes 6.136. See that 6.09 and 6.136, and goes on increasing the interest. Then similarly for 365, 6.168, and daily if you are going to pay that amount, then 6.183% you are paying money to the lender. Okay, that's why the conclusion of this one is, the nominal interest rate you have to calculate whenever you are going to purchase or whenever you are going to take a loan from others. Okay, on the basis of EMIs or on the basis of a rent. Just now in first class I told you, sorry, in last class, interest. A rent we are going to pay to the lender whatever the principal amount we are using for a given time period. Okay, that is interest. You remember this. Here, now this is all about interest and interest rates. Okay, first one simple interest, second one is compound interest. In a simple interest, we have two further categories. One is simple, and another one is ordinary simple interest and exact simple interest. Then comes that is a compound interest, and after that the nominal interest and effective interest rate. Okay, these are the some basics about interest and interest rate. Okay, in an examination, maybe you are going to get one problem from this part. Remember this. Okay, this problem they ask many times. Just go through the previous year question papers. Okay, this type of the problem they ask. We come to the important part of this subject. Remember that a cash flow diagram. Okay, we got as a CFD in economics. Okay, without drawing this diagram, you are not able to solve any problems from present worth, future worth, and annual worth problems. Okay, whenever they are going to give a statement or a question, first you have to draw this, then only you will understand what is the formula I am going to write. Without knowing this, you cannot understand what you are going to solve. Remember this. Okay. See, cash flow diagram are a simple graphical representation of income and outlay. These are the two things important. It is a graphical representation of income and outlay. Okay. And one more thing, these are the three conditions you have to apply whenever you are going to draw the cash flow. Okay. A cash flow diagram, simply CFD, is a pictorial representation of all quantities used in the computation of compound interest, such as present amount, that's the principal amount I told that is a P, future amount, that is a F, rate of interest, that is I, and number of interest period, that is N, and so on. Okay, now you just see that whenever you are going to draw a cash flow diagram, there is the two things you have to remember. One is lender point of view, borrower point of view. Okay, now you just see that it is a, if I'm going to say that lender point of view. Okay, now the P value is giving to the other person. The downward direction, you can say that always it is outlay. The downward arrow indicates cash outflow. Okay, the cash is moving or giving to the others. Okay, then upward direction always it show that it is an income. Okay, the money is coming to the person. Okay, it is inflow and outflow. If I'm going to mention this one, that is a downward direction and giving the money. If I consider, if I'm going to show this and getting the money from others. Okay, these are the two directions you have to remember. Okay, downward direction and upward direction. And this horizontal line, it indicates it is a time period N. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You can okay. We have to use N is equal to X in a, it indicates a horizontal line. Then I is equal to in a percentage, we have to write down here of here. This is the cash flow diagram. You have to draw like this. See that this is the following some conventions or while cash flow diagram while you are drawing the cash flow diagram. The horizontal line is a time scale with time processing from left to right. From left to right. Okay. Intervals marked 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on represents at the end of those periods. Just see that principal amount. Whenever you are going to take a loan, we are not going to pay any amount as an interest at that zero time period. ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಆದ್ರೂ ಸಾಲ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ if I'm going to take a money from others, okay, now if I'm asking a 10,000 rupees from my friend, now right now I'm not paying any interest. Okay, I'm tell him, okay, every year, every month I'm going to pay the interest. Okay, that means at the zero the time period I'm not going to pay any interest. Okay, at the first time period, okay, if I'm going to say that monthly, yearly, biannually, or daily like that, after 1 month or after 1 year, I'm going to pay the interest. That's why always the horizontal line starts with zero. Remember this. Okay, represents at the end of those periods. Periods can be a year, month, day, etc. Okay, in a previous column we told that no monthly, after that quarterly, then biannually and yearly. Okay. Then second condition is this is the horizontal line indicates what it indicates is given in a first condition. Second, arrow downward and upward. Arrow specifies cash flow are placed at the end of the period. 0 and nth period given, that is at the end of this horizontal line we are going to place the arrows. That means downward arrow represent cost. Remember, cost is nothing but is a cash outflow. Okay. See, whenever you are going to purchase any product, you are asking about what is the cost of the product. That means now you are paying that money. That means the cash is going out from you. That is recorded as a cost. Okay, that is downward direction or downward arrow indicates cash flow, cash outflow. Okay, whereas upward arrow represents revenue. Revenue, that means cash inflow. So that whenever you are going to ask anyone, okay, what is your income? Okay, instead of that income, you are saying that what is the revenue you are earning. Okay, this is the second condition. Okay, in the third condition, the cash flow diagram is dependent on point of view. Just now I told that no, there is a two point of view: lender point of view, borrower point of view. The problem stated would normally specify whether it is from a lender's point of view or a borrower point of view. Now, just this is a cash outflow and cash inflow. Okay. Now the another one here I drawn that is cash inflow and cash outflow. These two arrows I kept at the end of a time period that is 0 to n. I just see that here I am taking the money and future amount, that is I am paying the money. Here I am giving the money and I am taking the money at the end of it. Now we have to decide which one is the borrower point of view, which one is the lender point of view. Okay. Now just see that here a person is a lender, is giving money, and there is a person, and the same person he is taking money after the entry. Okay, that is lender point of view. And here I am taking money from someone and I become a borrower now. I am borrowing money from others. Okay, after n period I am giving the money to the same person. Okay, now I become a borrower. upward direction at the starting of a zero the time period. At the starting of the time period, I have become a borrower. At the zero time period, if I am paying money to others, then I become a lender point. Is it clear? Here I am giving the money and getting the future sum of the amount. Here I am taking the money from someone and I am giving the money at the end of nth. Okay, this is a cash flow diagram. You have to remember whenever we are going to solve the problems. Without knowing this cash flow diagram, you are not going to write any formula for anything. Okay. Now, from that, the compound interest problems. These are the 7 types of problems we have to solve. Okay, we have to understand. And within these 7 type of the problem, minimum 2 problems you are going to get in an examination. Clear? Remember this. There are several types and combination of problems that exist when calculating the compound interest. Some of regular possibilities that are practiced in business are as given below. The first one is single payment compound amount. What are the problem we solved just now? That is a simple payment compound amount, single payment present worth amount. Okay, I will explain all these things one by one, and along with that, I will explain some problems also. Don't worry. And equal payment series compound amount, equal payment series sinking amount or sinking fund, equal payment series present worth amount, equal payment series capital recovery amount, and finally uniform gradient series annual equivalent amount. Okay, these are the 7 types or 7 combinations of interest. Okay, remember before whatever the things I explained, if you have that knowledge along with the how to draw the cash flow diagram, then only we are going to solve the problem easily from this part. Otherwise, it's highly difficult to understand the problem and highly difficult to understand what I am explaining here. Clear? Okay, now we are going to move to the first one, that is a single payment compound amount. What it means? Okay, how we are going to say this single payment compound amount? Okay, remember the symbol and remember the meaning. Okay, these are very important to solve these problems. Single payment compound amount. Okay, now just see that I'm giving a sum of principal amount to someone and I'm asking a future sum of the amount at a time period at the rate of interest something. Okay, now here f by p comma I comma n. Okay, f by p I n. What is this symbol? How we are going to say that? A single payment which is given, that is p value. Okay, remember that always the numerator and denominator, in within that denominator is known and numerator is we have to find. Okay, at the rate of interest I at a given time period n. The meaning of this f by p I n, to find f when p is given, that means p is given, we have to find f. Okay, how we are going to find out this? Okay, here the objective is to find the single future sum, that is f, for a initial payment of p, that is a principal amount of p, made at a time 0. Okay, that is after n periods at an interest of I compounded every year. How we are going to draw this cash flow diagram? Now you just see that p is given, that means lender point of view. Okay, now you just see that here a single future sum we have to calculate. Okay, for a given initial payment. Now, for example, 1000 rupees I already taken from someone at the time zero period. Okay, this is the principal amount. Okay, now after n periods, take example of n is equal to 10. Okay, after 10 years, now it becomes 10. Okay, this is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on up to n is equal to 10. After 10 years, how much amount I am getting, that is f value. I'm going to find at the interest rate of 6%. Take example of 6. Okay, like that we have to draw the cash flow diagram. See, some amount I am taking, that is a P, at a time period of 0, okay, up to n, and how much I am getting after this n period at the rate of interest I. Like that we have to draw the cash flow diagrams. Reading my point. Okay, and this is the first type of the problem. Just this is the formula we have to use. F is equal to P into bracket 1 plus I raised to n. Okay, just now in previous problems we already solved this type of the problem. Yes, F is equal to P into bracket 1 plus I raised to n. That is single payment compound amount. Okay, and second type of the problem. Okay, shall I stop here? And tomorrow I am going to explain the second, third, and fourth type of the problems. Okay. Any one person, you just unmute your audio. Any one person. Okay. Sanpreet. Just unmute your audio. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Say there's a one instruction. So just remember everyone, those who are attending here. Tomorrow class, whenever in the next week class, when you're attending, there's a one thing you have to download from the net, that is compound interest table.
Okay, sir.
What is that?
Compound interest table.
Okay, like your scheme table used in a BTD and ATD subject. Okay, here we required that compound interest table to solve these problems. Clear? Okay,
Okay, sir.
just in your group 5th A and 5th B section group is there, no WhatsApp group. I will update that. Okay, what you have to download. Okay, one component
Okay, sir.
interest table also I will upload over there. You just go through that. You required that component interest table for in the future classes, because what happened, every formula we are not able to remember, because there's a 7 types of the problems, 7 formulas in the present work goes on increasing. That is a thousands of formulas are there. Okay, that's why not able to remember those formulas. That's why directly we are going to get the values from the compound interest table, and it is very easy for to identify the values and find out the exact answers. Okay, by using a formula and by using a compound interest table, okay, you are going to get a closest value, whatever the answer we require. Okay, I will tell you how to use the component interest table in a next class. Here,
Yes, sir.